Yes, let's talk about how the left is freaking out yet again, this time over fluoride, because that's being taken away from them like seed oil and all the other things that are upsetting them. Why don't we play these
out the pram?
Let's start off with upset libs, shall we?
The bugmen are freaking out.
Definitely did not expect to be asking you about fluoride in water 2 days before the election. I was a little shocked that one of their closing arguments for Donald Trump was take the fluoride out of water.
He's going to have a big role in healthcare, a very big role. He knows it better than anybody.
We haven't talked about this at all in the last 700 days, but suddenly the thing that's been normal in this country for 80 years, it's like, we're going to get rid of that on day one.
In a tweet last night, on January 20th, the Trump White House will advise all U.S. water systems to remove fluoride from public water.
He also linked to a site that features outlandish health claims, conspiracy theories like HIV-like viruses are in vaccines, and widely debunked medical claims.
This is a tweet from you. Fluoride is an industrial waste associated with arthritis, bone fractures, bone cancer, IQ loss, neurodevelopmental disorders, and thyroid disease.
Of course, fluoride is in water has been known to keep your teeth healthy, prevent cavities.
It is safe. It's not toxic.
There are some rocks to be thrown, frankly, at RFK Jr. about this stuff, because some of it actually is just straight up dangerous.
23.5 million people thought it was pretty great. The news media hated it.
Yes, so as you can gather, they're not too happy. There's loads more clips like that I could have played. I've actually found videos of people chugging down entire glasses of seed oils.
Yes.
Because the right is trying to take it away from them.
Amazing.
I found numerous accounts saying, oh my God, how are we going to add fluoride back into our water once they take it out?
I'm happy for the left to continue drinking fluoridated water and seed oils for that matter, if they want to.
But
I believe in freedom, so please continue doing that.
I love the trade-off though. So, well, it's going to give you bone density problems and it's going to lower your IQ, but your teeth will be fine. So, oh, great.
Yes. Well, I think Josh is on the right track. I like the idea of individualised democracy, whereas if you want to vote for zero taxes, then you get personally zero taxes, and if you want to vote for massive amounts of chlorine and boosters and all the rest of it, then you should get that. I quite like that idea. Right. And now we've got, I tell you what, to balance that, why don't I give you what the man actually is? We won't play all of this, but we play a bit of it so you get the idea.
And it was put in the water to stop tooth decay.
Yes.
But now it's recognized that most of our mouthwashes and toothpastes have fluoride in them, and you don't need fluoride in the water. And it's a very inefficient way of preventing tooth decay because you're getting it in people's blood, and that's how it's exposing the teeth. And as it turns out, fluoride is very, very dangerous. It causes IQ loss. We know, they haven't done a lot of studies that they should have done, but there are extensive studies that show if you put fluoride in water at double the rate that EPA now allows, that is in all of our water systems that use it in this country, that it causes dramatic IQ loss in children and particularly in unborn fetuses. It also causes bone cancer, and we had an explosion of bone cancer beginning in the 1940s. It causes arthritis, and it causes the deterioration of bones, bone fractures, and it causes thyroid injuries. It also calcifies the pineal gland of the human brain, which is the part of our brain that actually creates our spiritual feelings. And so it's something, yeah.
I can't stop it, but there we go. So that is basically what has got people, well, the left, particularly upset by this.
But my calcified pineal gland.
Yes.
I don't want to have spiritual feelings. I might start thinking that my life has been sinful.
Yeah, apparently now, if you stop drinking tap water, you will now start believing in God. So, 2024 is a wild time.
So I don't know about that bit, but I mean, maybe it's true. I mean, spiritual feelings have been prevalent in the human race for a long time, so it must come from some part of brain physiology, or perhaps God. I mean, I'm not going to pick a side on that one.
Sure, but even surely our feeling towards God is within us.
Yes,
God is real, but if that is the pineal gland, I don't know, and we're essentially switching that off using technological means.
Yes.
I'm already sold on this. I only drink filtered water, and I only use toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in.
Do you believe in God?
Not yet.
Well, there you go. Using too much.
I've had too much tap water, yeah. That's what it was.
Yes, quite positive. To steel man the other side of this, the argument for putting it in the water is because, like RFK says, it gets into your blood, and that's how it gets into your teeth, as while they're growing is kind of inlaid in the teeth rather than being brushed over the top of them. Right. And therefore it's just a much denser saturation of fluoride in your teeth, especially as you're growing. That would be the argument.
Can't I just brush my teeth though?
Well, the counter-argument would be brush your teeth and stop shoving sugar down your throat on a constant basis.
Good argument.
Yes. Which is the other way to go. So, anyway, this all resulted... Oh, hang on. This all resulted in... No, I've gone too far ahead. Yes, this article from AP, which I will give you the cliff notes of it, but basically it's fluoride is going to make you stupid. According to the US CDC, additional levels of fluoride to drinking water has long been considered the greatest public health achievement of the last century. Well, I suppose there was also another one about 4 years ago that we can't really talk about on YouTube that was considered to be the greatest achievement ever in medicine. But yes, so it's either that or putting fluoride in the tap water. The long-awaited report summarises studies conducted in Canada, China, India, Iran, Pakistan and Mexico, concluding that drinking water containing more than 1.5 milligrams of fluoride per litre is consistently associated with lower IQs in kids.
2 to 5, I think, is the range, isn't it? Drop in IQ?
Yes. The report did not try to quantify exactly how many IQs might be lost at different levels of fluoride exposure, but some of the studies reviewed in the report suggest the IQ was 2 to 5 points lower in children who had higher exposure. Exactly right.
Isn't any amount of loss on IQ a bad thing?
Tragedy,
especially if you've got many to begin with, which is the case for lots of people.
Yeah.
I feel like one thing that many people in the United States could benefit from is more IQ points, to be honest.
Oh, it would make everything in the world better.
It would, yeah. If you look at IQ and map it against anything,
yes,
it's like a way of tracking civilization, right?
There is one map of the world,
mm-hmm.
and every map of the world, no matter what subject you are looking at, follows this map.
Mm-hmm.
Green, red.
Well, funny you mentioned that map, because
there we go, the map of the world.
I wanted to put this into context for people, because what is actually a 5% IQ drop. So let's start with... Oh, God, this is fiddly. Right, here we go. So United Kingdom, average IQ 99, apparently. So
on the Lynn Becker one, yes.
Yes, so we need to find something which is 5 points lower. That Italy feels... Yeah, there we go. Italy is 5 points lower. So this is serious, ladies and gentlemen. It is the equivalent of exchanging the IQ of an Englishman for the IQ of an Italian. you might end up with slightly firmer pasta, but you end up wildly waving your arms around when you talk and honking your car horn unnecessarily all the time. That's the sort of level of seriousness that we're talking about on this stuff. All right. Oh, back to the article. Separately, the EPA has maintained a long-standing requirement that water systems cannot have more than 4 milligrams of fluoride per litre to prevent skeletal fluorosis, a potentially crippling disorder which causes weakened bones, stiffness and pain.
I'll just brush my teeth twice a day. That's all I'll do. I don't need the rest of it. I'll just brush my teeth.
Don't eat the tube. Just brush your teeth.
Just
spit it out afterwards.
Yeah.
You don't even need to do that.
Don't you?
No, I've not done it for years and my teeth are fine.
What, you don't use toothpaste?
Or you don't brush?
Well, I use non-fluoridated toothpaste. Right. And I don't drink tap water with fluoride in. You don't need to do either, and believe it or not, your teeth don't fall out. See? Real teeth.
But more studies have increasingly pointed to a different problem, suggesting a link between higher level of fluoride and brain development. Researchers wondered about the impact on developing fetuses and very young children who might ingest water with baby formula. Studies in animals show fluoride could impact neurochemical cell function in the brain regions responsible for learning, memory, executive function and behaviour.
Which most of those things encompass the majority of the aspects of consciousness we suspect are implicated in the conscious experience.
Being self-aware.
A significant part of it, yeah.
Right. Well, and also, the US has significant problems with its new arrivals on the matters of learning, memory, executive function and behaviour, so you don't really want to make it any worse than it already is.
That's very true. And it's a very damaging thing to damage.
What your plan is, doesn't it, really?
Well, yes.
How much tap water does Nancy Pelosi drink?
Probably none.
Well, considering how sloshed she is the entire time, I would say a very low amount.
Probably very little.
Yes.
She doesn't have much space for it after the amount of child's blood she drinks to stay forever young.
That's an allegation.
It's not true. It is fake news, but it feels spiritually correct.
So who is going to save the US? It's going to be a Florida man, obviously. So I quite like this guy, actually. He was very sensible during the thing that happened 4 years ago.
I remember him, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was good on that. So he's basically sort of come out and said...
RFK's right.
Yeah, well, basically, yes. Yeah,
You can strengthen teeth without consuming a neurotoxin. Yeah, maybe there is a way.
Well, that's a good point,
Science
really.
can find a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Health advice, do not consume a neurotoxin.
There are these things called cows, and they produce milk. And if you drink lots of that when you're growing up, you have strong teeth.
Brilliant.
I had a glass of milk. Glass of milk with my dinner every day until I was a grown man, and I've never had any problems with my teeth ever.
Bill Gates hates cows because they're destroying the earth.
Well, how can cows do that? I've never seen them starting wars.
It's a scientific expert, Greta Thunberg.
Yes. I do like milk. Milk is good. I normally blend a couple of bananas and a handful of strawberries into it these days, but yes, otherwise good. Right. So anyway, Florida man, Surgeon General. I've always wondered, I think it's supposed to be Surgeons General. Correct me in the comments if you know, but I think it's supposed to be Surgeons General. Anyway, so he is coming out and issuing that guidance in the link there, which you can find here, which I shall summarise for you thusly. Basically, it starts off by saying that you do find fluoride naturally in groundwater, rainwater, soil, plants and foods, blah, blah, blah. Historically used in drinking water to prevent tooth decay, but alternative sources like toothpaste and dental treatments are widely available. Also, possibly, you can stop cramming sugar down your throat.
It is also worth mentioning as well, finding trace amounts of something is very different. Like there's always a background amount of radiation, but you wouldn't then go to, the elephant's foot in Chernobyl and think, oh, I'll be fine.
Yes, fair point. He points out that several countries, including Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, have discontinued fluoride use. He lists a whole bunch of studies, one in Mexico City, 2017, one in Canada, 2019. Canada
Canadians are guinea pigs for this.
Well, apparently they don't do it as much.
Oh, right.
I've got a map coming up. Canada in 23 again, Los Angeles 24, and an NTP report in 24. He also highlights there are other issues with fluoride, as well as the ones we've already talked about: sleep apnea, thyroid problems, pineal gland accumulation, we mentioned that one, premature periods in young women, and skeletal fluorosis, which I have no idea what it is, but it does sound bad. Alternative dental health measures he proposes: eat better.
That's a good one.
Yes. Which is, but
lay off the slop.
Americans do have a lot of sugar.
Oh, yeah. You saw RFK's video the other day. It was like,
yes.
The things we put into our body innocently are bad. And it's like, it's just the most disgusting looking processed food you've ever seen.
I understand that Americans put sugar in their bread.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of their bread is basically just low-key brioche.
Yeah. But it's also like, just a weird collection of other chemicals. And he's like, look, all these chemicals, and what do the Canadians have? They have like blueberry extract or something.
Yes.
So it's literally just like they literally take something out of blueberries rather than a bunch of synthetically created chemicals in a lab.
Yes.
It's like American food is just total poison.
To be very clear, Americans watching this, we are pro-American. We're pro half of you anyway. We're pro the red Americans anyway. We like you guys.
The Native Americans.
I want you to stop poisoning yourselves.
Yes,
that's what
you're just fat and you eat bad. So don't do that.
Like every time I go to America, I have to essentially go into a starvation diet, or else I start ballooning. I don't know what is going on with the food, but it's definitely the food.
Oh, there is something up with American food.
And by the way, we're not exactly entirely innocent here, just to be clear.
Oh, yeah.
Is why we know the dangers.
Yes. Yes, it has been getting worse. This is a typical sort of response under the Surgeon General's thing. It's like, provide your bloody evidence.
Yeah, but the evidence is there.
Like, there are
studies that show this.
Loads of people have come back.
Them, yeah.
and every time somebody comes back with a study, he just posts this. Correlation is not causation. It's like,
this isn't a get out of jail free card, right? So what they're saying here is there is the potential for a logical disconnect between something and something else, even if they appear to happen at the same time. But that doesn't mean that there is a disconnect. There's the potential for a disconnect.
Yes.
So it's entirely possible that if you have a neurotoxin and you are putting it in your drinking water, and you drink the neurotoxin, that there will be a causal effect on your brain.
Yes.
If it was something completely harmless, like, hummus or something, and there was a correlation, you'd be like, hey, there's no causal link because it's not a neurotoxin.
Yes.
But a neurotoxin may well affect you.
Yes, and the nub of his argument, I could have picked many here.
Terrible argument.
Each person making a claim adopts a burden. I'm asking for an evidence of the claim. Adding fluoride to water increases the risk of neuropsychiatric diseases in children, reduces their IQ. Pointing to another claim could be a fallacious.
I've got a couple of things to add here, actually. First and foremost, not all of the research is looking at correlations, for a start, and so that sort of debunks that side of things. And also, surely the people proposing the intervention, the burden is on them, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So if I came up with this thing and I said it cures cancer, and then everyone's just like, well, where's your evidence? I say, well, you need to give me evidence that it doesn't cure cancer.
Yeah.
Then everyone would laugh at me, and rightfully so, because it would be a silly thing to propose. But that's what's going on here.
But what he's asking for is like, okay, well, show me the exact mechanism of how it does it. It's like, I don't need to. I don't need to show you the exact mechanism. If putting fluoride in reliably reduces IQ out, and we can show this on repeated testing, which appears to be the case, even if I don't know the mechanism, and so therefore, like, you can set about and say, show me the exact mechanism of how, like, light intersects with the brain or something. And even if I can't do that, that doesn't mean I don't see through my eyes. I still know that I see through my eyes. So if you're consistently getting the same thing out, okay, I don't know the exact mechanism, but that's definitely happening. So stop arguing this way, because that's not a rebuttal.
So for me, this points to a big breakdown in difference between how left-wingers and right-wingers tend to see the world. So the right-wingers are more likely to look at the world as it is today and say, we are doing all of these things. How can we justify doing each of these things from first principles? Take me back, and why should we do this? Whereas left-wingers start from the position of, this is what we are already doing, and in order to deviate from what we are currently doing, you need to provide ironclad evidence that moving in a different direction, because they assume that everything that their ilk have done over the last 30 years has been a good thing.
Yes.
Well, they're almost innately conservative with a small c, because it's their world order that they're preserving, aren't they? And so they want you to provide the evidence to change it, because they're defending the thing that's putting the fluoride in the water in the first place.
The problem with this as well is this kind of scientism thinking, where it's like, look, I need a level of certainty that is just an unreasonable thing to request. Like if I can't be 100% certain about something, 99% certainty is not good enough. And it's like, well, sorry, that's good enough for me.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to putting a neurotoxin.
Well, that thinking was very evident in the thing that happened 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that most of, say, medicine operates to a 99% degree of certainty. So whether they like it or not, that's the world they live in. And, I've done an inordinate amount of philosophy of science and all of this sort of stuff to death, and I think that it's a good idea to remove fluoride. So,
yes.
But this guy's trading on the 1% uncertainty, saying, see, I can't be certain about that. It's like, okay, I don't care if you're certain about that. I agree with RFK.
Yes, if I can't justify it from first principles and we're not doing it.
Well,
you asked for a map. There you go. There's a map. Grey is where it's not done. So apparently in the UK, it's like less than 20% of our water is fluorinated.
I think the average is 30%, but it's mostly up north, and we don't get it here, and lots of other places don't get it as well.
Oh, right. Okay. So I've actually got the list of places it's been banned. Israel, Japan, China, Russia, Austria, Denmark, Switzerland, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Ireland, Norway, Scotland.
Far right countries, throwback countries.
India, Hungary, Germany, France, Finland, Belgium, and Czech Republic.
Yeah, absolute throwbacks. They don't know anything.
Yes.
They don't care about progress.
Why?
About my human right to have a fluoridated pineal gland.
Yes. Now, a lot of you are thinking, what would Dan do? Which is the right thing to be thinking. What Dan does is water distillers. These things are bloody brilliant. So basically what it is like a little kettle thing at the bottom and a little fridge thing at the top. And it evaporates the water up. The water gets to the top, gets chilled, and then turns back into water and dribbles into a pot.
This isn't a sponsored segment.
No, it's not. I just picked this one at random. But honestly, get yourself a water distiller. These things are absolutely brilliant. Once you have used one of these, you will never, ever go back to tap water.
You realise how much tap water tastes of stuff once you start drinking filtered water, don't you?
I'm trying to take the calcium out of my tap water.
Yes. But I mean, this will get rid of everything and just leave
about the
pure
light
water.
Scale? Like, I pay good money for that.
You get your daily dose of heavy metals from just running the tap for a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the things you'll realise when you start using a water distiller, and they're fairly cheap, it's well worth doing, is you realise that water that comes out of the tap is purified just enough to look pure.
Yeah, to not kill you.
And what you can do with this is you can sort of run it halfway until half of the pure water is extracted. So the amount of pollutants in the water is doubled per volume, and then just stop it and take a look at the water, and it looks revolting. And if you do that again, halve it again, it looks like slurry. It looks brown, and all of that you would have been drinking. You just would have had it diluted enough that you wouldn't have noticed that you were drinking it. Apparently, the biggest pollutant in tap water is toilet paper and period pads that get filtered into the water, survive the filtration process that the tap water companies use, and then it supplies back to you.
So in theory, that could be used toilet paper.
Well, it's got to be.
Well, unless your neighbour's in the habit of stuffing unused toilet paper down the sewers, where it's then filtered and sent back.
Doing this then.
So anyway,
I might get one of those.
Yes, highly.
You don't want to drink toilet paper?
Highly recommend it. They are well worth getting. And we just recap on sort of some sort of American and health gems throughout the years. See where you stand on each of these. They told Americans to avoid steak. Do the opposite.
Well, hang on. Okay. In America, maybe because of all the growth hormones or something like that.
Well,
that's
you get to eat tasty meat and get free steroids.
Yeah, and become avoided.
They said avoid the sun. They said eat seed oils.
Hang on, why would we avoid the sun?
Oh,
skin cancer, I guess.
Yes.
Vampirism.
Eat seed oils. Avoid eggs. Limit salt. Avoid butter. Drink fluoride. Lower your cholesterol. Now, on all of those, I would suggest if you do the opposite, you'll be better off. Yeah. Yes.
Get out in the sun. Don't eat the seed oil.
I found this, which was fantastic. This is very interesting. So I think this is we don't get this here. I think this is an EU thing. But they've just it's Germany. There we go. It's got a German web address on it. But they've started putting health scores on food. Wagyu gets a D. Fruit Loops get a B.
Something tells me that it is worth mentioning as well that if you're to eat one food group, meat is the one that you can eat where you don't get nutrient deficiencies. All of the other ones.
Oh, if I was told I could only eat one thing forever for the rest of my life, it would be steak instantly.
It wouldn't even be difficult, would it?
No. Yeah. So 'tis a bit silly, all that sort of stuff. Right. Final link. Because I do think there is something going on with American food that desperately needs to be looked at, and hopefully RFK will. This guy's pointing out that there are 10,000 chemicals that are added to American food, less than 5% of which are legal in other countries.
I mean, I would have questions, at the very least.
Yes.
As an American. I mean, I have questions not as an American. Why are you doing this?
Well, the thing I've seen many times is if you get an American breakfast cereal and then you get the counterpart from another country and look at the ingredients.
The extra block.
Yeah, and their ingredients is about 3 times longer, and it's all full of like weird chemical stuff. So anyway, hope RFK can sort that out and make America healthy again.